What's good? How y'all doing this Friday evening? Welcome back to the Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. That's FILA Sports Podcast. I'm here with my partner in crime, Rick Flex.
Going on? What's going on?
Not much. And we are joined this evening with two special guests. Austin Cox. Tell everybody who you are, man, and what you do.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Excited to be here. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm a staff writer for Tomahawk Nation. It's a site that covers Florida State. And, yeah, definitely. I've been covering the team. This is my second year covering the team. And like I said, excited to be here.
Right on.
He's the enemy, y'all. Be careful. I'm joking with you. All right, and then we have another special guest, Dylan. Tell them who you are, what you write for.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Dylan Callan Croley, lead expert at yellowjackedup.com. Been covering Yellow Jacket football and athletics since December 2016. So excited for another season of college football here, and can't wait to talk about the game.
All right, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
All right, so if y'all new to the channel, y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. We on the road to 1K. Also hit that like button, share this content out with other college football fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. Let us know who you can give us your predictions, before tomorrow's game. As always, come holla at your hometown sports podcast. All right. That's what I like right now. You did the woo at the end of that. That's what I'm talking about, man. Let's keep that rolling. All right. Before we start, make sure y'all following us on social media. Follow us on Twitter, FILA_SP. Also follow us on Facebook, FILA Sports Podcast. You don't want to miss out on that because we're going to start doing our Falcons halftime reports on that Facebook Live starting Sunday. And if you just want to check the audio out, check us out on Apple Podcasts. We also on Spotify. We on Anchor, Google Play, Stitcher, name a few,
Everywhere.
So, everywhere. All right. So if you was living under a rock last night, we pretty much talked about pretty much most of the football teams in the state of Georgia, college football teams in the state of Georgia. Kennesaw State, they're opting out for this season. Valdosta State as well. Pretty much all the HBCUs like Morehouse, Clark Atlanta, Savannah State, Fort Valley State, and Albany State, they are all opting out this season. So the only college football that you're getting in the great state of Georgia is Georgia State, Georgia Southern, UGA, and Georgia Tech. That's it. So just want to let everybody know that. Upcoming games this week. Tomorrow you have Campbell. They're going to be traveling to Statesboro to take on the Georgia Southern Eagles at 3:30 in the evening. That game will be broadcast through ESPNU. And we're here to talk about the Georgia Tech versus Florida State game. The Yellow Jackets, they are going to be traveling to Tallahassee to play the Seminoles this Saturday at 3:30. And that game is going to be live on ABC. So, let's start with you, Dylan. And we just talked about this. Collins not publicly naming who the starter quarterback is going to be for the game. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting going into tomorrow's game. I'm not shocked that he hasn't named a starter per se on their above the line, which if you don't know, Georgia Tech uses the above the line instead of a normal depth chart, at least for the public and opposing teams viewing. So on that above the line, they have four quarterbacks listed. James Graham, who was their starter for most of last season, starting with, I think, the fourth game of the season. So he had 8 or 9 starts last year. There's redshirt freshman Jordan Yates on there, a four-star quarterback. And then they got 2 freshmen on there, 4-star Jeff Sims, who was a Florida State commit.
Oh, yeah, we know about him.
Year. You know him well. And then they also have Tucker Gleason, who was I think finished as a pretty high 3-star recruit for signing. So they got 4 guys there. I'm thinking they're probably leaning towards Sims right now. But if they throw Graham out there since he has the experience, I wouldn't be shocked. But everything I'm hearing from people who are connected to the program / just what general fans think or my colleagues think is it's going to be Sim, and I guess we'll just have to wait to see till tomorrow. I know they're not going to name their quarterback, I've heard, until basically the first possession that they have offensively. So it's just going to have to be a waiting game for everybody outside the program.
And I wonder why Collins chose to do it this way. Like, I just don't understand. I guess. What'd you say?
Because it's not gonna matter.
Well, it can, because you sometimes you want to give your opponent the element of surprise. So you thinking the defense is going to prepare for this quarterback, then come Saturday, then they switch it up and they say, "No, we're gonna play this quarterback," and then okay, well, we never prepared for this, so it's kind of smart. I think
y'all teams are won in the trenches, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think we're those going to win the trenches. So.
Well, just look out, because next year, Georgia Tech, they already got some good recruits.
Oh, no doubt.
They got one of my students, Weston Franklin, out of Wayne County. Big dude. And he's going to be a superstar. He's going to be a star.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, just look out for that name next year. All right, Austin, I'm going to switch it up to you. Mike Noble, changing the culture down there in Florida State. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, well, definitely. Well, talk about him changing up the culture some. I was one of the concrete ways that we've kind of seen that so far was last year I was standing right there interviewing Bavion Johnson when he said that they didn't seem that they were that well conditioned. And that kind of became a storyline after Florida State's opening season loss to Boise State. Willie had our former head coach, Willie Taggart, had a press conference type of thing where he brought a water bottle, and it was a whole type of hydration thing. So really, one thing we've seen from Norvell is he's done a great job at having all of his assistant coaches and all of his players have one consistent message throughout press conferences and being more organized and more cohesive. So that's kind of a concrete thing that we've seen so far. It's been tough to, kind of glean much else from it other than that, without having spring, without having the spring game. And not even be able to attend OTAs and, a lot of the summer things that we normally would attend as well. But we definitely have, been able to do a lot of press conferences with him. The other great thing that's been about, the way he handles it is, a lot of coaches, they only allow maybe their coordinators to talk. I believe we've talked with upwards of 40 or 50 players so far this August. We've talked with essentially every coach, every position coach, the coordinators several times. So that's really been good to be able to get to hear from everyone. It's given us, a little bit better sense than we would have had. But overall, it's going to be tough. There are still holes in the roster. From the past 3 years in recruiting, there are still holes, and so we'll see. But overall, there's definitely everyone in Tallahassee definitely expects for there to be a lot of improvement.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. Mike Noble, he's a good coach, but I really feel like y'all hired the wrong coach. Like, I heard rumors. I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chuck Lunsford from Georgia Southern. I thought he was a candidate to be y'all next coach. Like, I think he would have been good. I think he would have been good.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Norvell was part of a few candidates. Another thing we had going on for a few weeks there, right around the end of the season, was had Bob Stoops involved. There's a lot of rumors that we were going after him, and it was interesting because Florida State had really never been in that position where we had fired a coach in the middle of the season. Of course, Jimbo Fisher had left. Really, Florida State had never been in a coaching search prior to hiring Willie Taggart since before Bobby Bowden. So I think it's been unique for the program as a whole to go through a situation of hiring a head coach, and I think also on top of that, it's been unique for the fans because you look at it, we had Bobby Bowden from 1976 to 2009, and then we don't even we go straight from a head coach in Waiting to Jimbo Fisher, so we didn't really have a traditional coaching search there either. So 2017 was the first time. December 2017, when we hired Willie Taggart, was the first time the fans or the program had really gone through a coaching change compared to, really any other university where, coaches last for 5 or 10 years at most, So it's been unique. It's been different. But the fan base is definitely very re-energized from Norvell.
Yeah, because, we had Paul Johnson for, 13 years?
Yeah.
And now we got Collins, and Collins, he's literally changed the culture on the flats, and I'm excited, and people just pump just because the field they added paint into the end zones now. Everybody's excited. So what's your thoughts about that, Dylan?
Yeah, I mean the excitement and energy around the program since Johnson left and Collins has come in has been night and day. I think Johnson at the end there was probably getting a little stale even with the fans. I know a lot of Georgia Tech fans identified with that triple option offense for so long, but just how they were going there at the end of his tenure, you could sense that change was going to be needed one way or the other. Him retiring kind of made that easier for the administration because he certainly was successful, but since Collins has come on board, you definitely feel much more excitement out of the fans, even online. And yeah, the whole culture has changed. You've heard NFL scouts even complimenting how the culture is now much more NFL friendly, recruiting friendly. I mean, you briefly mentioned it earlier. They're lining up on the recruiting show for Georgia Tech standards, and the 2021 class is pretty good. 2022 class is even going to be better, especially as they make roads in with some of the elite high school programs in Georgia.
Yeah, I mentioned one kid, Weston Franklin. He's a left tackle, and they, Tech and Collins. He's been really recruiting in the trenches.
Yes, he's been doing really well there.
To win the ACC. Win any game, really. To be honest with you, winning football, you have to win in the trenches. So, but with that triple option with Paul Johnson, you didn't the lineman. He wanted smaller, quicker, offensive linemen, to run in that system. But now, we playing the pro style now, so you're gonna need bigger guys, stronger guys, and so. I don't, we may, have a winning record this season or somewhere near subpar, but I know next year, when we get that class of 2021 in, yes, it's gonna be on the popping. That's all I gotta say on that. So this above the line chart, I know you mentioned this earlier, and I've been noticing this as well. They don't really show anybody who's below it. It's pretty much simple. You above the chart, you playing. How does this make the players who aren't starting? Does it motivate them, or do they lose confidence and want to transfer out?
I think it probably motivates them more than bums them down or losing confidence in themselves. I think from a player's standpoint, you're definitely going to be disappointed if the new above the line comes out on a week and you don't see yourself there. But I know Collins and his staff really kind of tell the players, if you want to be above this line, this is what you have to do. This is what we want to see out of you. So just keep working at it. And I mean, I know it's only been 1 year, but you haven't seen many transfers out of the program yet. And really the confidence around all the guys seems to be pretty high from what I can tell. So I think it's definitely more causing motivation than it is causing the guys to lose confidence. And I think part of it's also mostly just for show for the public and opposing teams. I think inside the program, more than I obviously would have knowledge of, there's probably much more definite depth charts in there, and guys know where they stand. So if you're not above the line on paper, you may be 2 or 3 guys behind it. So I think it serves as somewhat motivation, but I'm not sure how much motivation actually serves and how much it's there just for the public's viewing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. All right. Want to talk about Florida State's defensive tackles, Marvin Wilson and Robert Cooper. These are like top highly prospects for the 2021 NFL draft.
Oh yeah.
Austin, what's your take on these 2 guys?
Well, if you look at our Florida State's defensive line, it's definitely poised to have a big season. Like you said, we've got Marvin Wilson, who he announced he was coming back in December when we were down in the Sun Bowl. That was a huge shock to the entire fan base and really the whole program. No one really expected him to come back. Everyone thought he was going pro. So he's definitely one of the better returning college football players this season. Really, I'd probably say on any roster. I've seen a lot of things where he's been, top 10 or 15 players returning. Then, you look, we got Corey Durden, who he is, redshirt junior. He's got great speed for his size. He's played Russian and interior for us in the past. Then we also have Robert Cooper, like you said. He's trimmed down a little bit this offseason. Still packing a hefty 330, 340 pounds, I believe. He's really going to fill the middle. He's a great run stopper. And then we also got a transfer guy, Devontae. Not Devontae Love Taylor. We got Fabian Lovett is a transfer from Mississippi State, and he started a number of games for them last season. So he's really our 4th defensive tackle. So I'm looking for them to have a big game Saturday against Georgia Tech. Definitely looking for those top 3 to have a big game, especially. And one more thing about the defensive tackles is I think they're going to really benefit from improved play from our ends this year. Starting in the 2 defensive end spots, we have Joshua Kando and Janarius Robinson. And, Kando was a 5-star coming out of high school. Both of those guys are 4th or 5th year players, pretty experienced. They're kind of poised to have a pretty decent years as well. Joshua Kando is probably one of the stars of camp. Got a lot of praise from Norvell. So I think the play of the DNs is going to benefit them, obviously, on the interior of the line. So calling for a big game for Marvin Wilson, Durden, and Cooper.
Okay. All right. Dylan, how David Curry and the defense will hold up for the Yellow Jackets this Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the ultimate question for Georgia Tech. Obviously, quarterback's a big question, but before I go on to defense, finish that thought with the offense. I think the offense, depending on the quarterback play, they definitely have enough weapons to make stuff happen. But on defense, I think is going to decide the game for Georgia Tech to a point. And I mean, David Curry is their best defensive player. I think everybody would agree with that around the program. He's their most consistent player by far. He racked up nearly 100 tackles last year, 2nd team All ACC, and he's the leader of that defense. He has had some injury issues, but they now have him back this year and next year, which is going to be huge for them, not just this year, but also next year. I think the defensive line is the biggest question regarding this team because I think the secondary, returning most of everybody from last year, is going to take a step forward, especially with Jeff Collins being such a good secondary coach. I think the linebackers are talented enough to make strides this year, but defensive line is where I think Georgia Tech is going to either win some games this year or lose some games. Last year, that defensive line was not good. They struggled to get any type of pressure in the backfield, struggled to get sacks, tackles for a loss, and they got shredded on the run game. They did pick up, well, didn't pick up, but they did get Antonius Clayton eligible for this year after sitting out last year. We'll see what type of impact he makes. He is a former 5-star guy who was at Florida for a while before transferring in. So we'll see how big of a difference he makes as long as he can stay on the field. You got Jazeel Lee at defensive tackle, or from the offensive line. He showed some promise before getting injured last year. We'll see if he can make any improvements there. But beyond that, those two, they still have a lot of talent. And Chico Bennett Jr., who showed a lot of promise, I think, last year before going down and not being able to finish the season. Sylvian Yonder, he's a big guy at 6'4", 255. He was pretty raw coming into Georgia Tech. He's from Europe originally. So last year, I think, was really big developmental for him. And now we see what he can do when they let him loose on the field. But I think he could be a guy who really comes out of nowhere for the Jackets this year and makes a difference on the line. But you got Jordan Dominic, who showed some good promise, Justice Dingle, and Curtis Ryan's on that defensive line. They're unproven, that's for sure. But I think there's a lot of potential. I just don't know if they're ready to take the step that's needed this year. I think they're going to need one more year probably to make that big step that they need.
Yeah, I think
and
so
then
too.
And then in the inside there, you got Jamon Brooks, Jaquan Griffin, DK Chimedza, who I'm expecting big things out of him this year. He was a big-time recruit when he came in to the program, which was, I think, 3 years ago at this point. So I think if anybody in the defensive line needs to take a big step forward, it's him more than others. But that front seven is going to decide the Georgia Tech's defensive success this year. I think the secondary will hold up just fine, return of talent. All in all, I think the defense will take a step forward, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to take a big enough step forward to, A, beat Florida State on Saturday, and then to, I guess, at this point in this season, finish with a winning record. I expect improvement, but I just don't know how much you really can expect with such an off season where you didn't really have a real off season.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, it's the defense is going to get better this year, like you said.
Yep.
But it's not going to be like, a huge significance for us to, go out there and, oppose our will on, other teams. So it's going to be another year.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's if Georgia Tech can find a way to get pressure on the quarterbacks this year, they have a chance to make some noise defensively, because I think that secondary will be strong this year, or stronger than it was last year. I mean, that was a secondary that picked off Trevor Lawrence, I think, twice in the season opener last year. Mm-hmm. Did have some struggles towards the end of the season, but that was with, I think, replacing all 4 starters going into last year. So struggles were bound to happen with such a young secondary. But Trey Swillen is a guy who can be an all-ACC type guy this year. Tobias Oliver is there this year. Tariq Carpenter, Wanya Thomas. I think all of them could be high-quality players for Georgia Tech this year. But if the front seven doesn't get pressure, I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah. You have anything to add, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much hit everything. Georgia Tech, I think they only generated 17 sacks last year, so I don't think they're going to be able to get to that pressure, this year. I think James Blackman has a big game. I think he goes for 275 and 3 touchdowns. So I just think that, like you said, the trenches, I think they're going to hold up for Florida State. They're just too big, too physical right now. As Austin said, spring practice probably affected Georgia Tech more. Still trying to get out of that triple option and change their identity. So that probably didn't help at all, from their standpoint. So I expect Florida State to pull away in the second half of this one. I'm going to go 34-17, Florida State.
You already went through the predictions. All right.
Yeah, I'm going 34-17, Florida State, man.
All right. Austin, what's your prediction?
Oh man, well, I've actually got a little bit of a tighter score. We've got a prediction article. Looks like it's going to be coming up on Tomahawk Nation tomorrow morning before the game. I've got the Noles winning 26-24. I've got them not covering the spread. Got them under the total points over or under as well. But I think they're going to play well. I think it's going to be, if you look at these season opening games, a lot of times the offenses come out a little slow. Yeah, still kind of getting their footing. Looks like it's going to rain tomorrow, possibly. So I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a close game in the first half. Like you said, man, I think Florida State's going to pull away a little bit in the second half. Definitely would expect James Blackman to probably hit at least one deep ball to Tamaron Terry. He's probably one of the better deep threats returning this year in college football. I will say, you're talking about the Georgia Tech's defensive line. Florida State, they're not exactly strong on the offensive line by any stretch. We're pretty young. So, there will be opportunities to be had for Georgia Tech's defense. But I think the play calling from Florida State is going to be significantly better than we've seen in the past few years. I think it's the overall game plan is going to be better. And I think we're just going to play to win. I think they're going to kind of relish in the game being closer, and they're going to pull it out. I think they're going to win 26-24.
All right. Dylan?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, like Austin said, for at least part of it. I've been going back and forth on some scores in my mind the last few days. But right now, I think Florida State does win it. I think Georgia Tech does cover the spread. I think it spreads at about 12 points right now. Yeah. So I think Georgia Tech will cover that spread. I think right now I'm probably in about 27-17. I could see it being really 27-14, and then Georgia Tech and a garbage time field goal. But I think it'll be a close game in the first half. I think Georgia Tech's going to come out knowing that they can make a statement in their season opener here. But I think the talent that Florida State has is just going to be too much for the Yellow Jackets to make up for. For the Jackets, I'm going to look really to see what they can get out of their running back group. Obviously, Jordan Mason, I think, is a guy who's going to be an NFL caliber running back, if not next year, in 2 years. And then you got Jameis Griffin back there, Dante Smith, and then 4-star running back from just this past class, and Jahmyr Gibbs, who was a huge signing for the Jackets, and really I think it was a statement signing because they needed to hold off the likes of Ohio State and others to sign him. So I'm going to look to see what they give him looks-wise tomorrow. But I think Florida State just will be the more talented team, obviously, and that'll be too much with Georgia Tech. So 27-17 will be my final prediction.
All right. Well, my prediction, I'm just going to be short and sweet with it. 28 Florida State, Georgia Tech 24. It's gonna be a close one. Both teams are trying to improve. Yes, I understand. We understand that on the defense side of the ball, Florida State's better, but I just really feel like Tech tomorrow, they not going to have any problems running the ball. I think they're going to run the ball well, but it just won't be enough to win. So
I can definitely see that. And for part of this week, I was thinking to myself that this could be a field goal game because, like we mentioned with the offseason, both the teams are kind of interesting situations. Yellow Jackets transitioning year 2 now from that. Florida State, a little bit easier of a transition since it's still kind of the same philosophies, offensive style-wise. But still, you wonder how much they were able to get in playbook-wise. What are they going to show? Is it going to be kind of a basic playbook tomorrow for Florida State? They're going to go more advanced stuff. So When thinking of that type of stuff, I was thinking it could be a close game like you predicted, or even a field goal type game. So I could definitely see that happen.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that, I mean, if you look at Florida State, Georgia Tech, their coaching staffs, they're probably affected, definitely two of the schools most affected from the coronavirus and the shutdown. And, you know, if you compare them to other schools that already have their systems kind of in place, definitely hurt them as much as any two schools in the country probably.
Yeah.
I think you hit it on the head, Austin. I mean, that weather. Yeah, I forgot about that. That could change a lot.
Yeah, it was raining hard over here in Tallahassee, man. This afternoon, it was pouring. It's coming down.
Yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate y'all coming on once again. Go ahead and pretty much let everybody know who y'all are. Starting with Austin.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I just want to say thanks again for having me. So www.tomahawknation.com. That's the website. We also have a podcast on all your podcast apps. It's called Seminole Rap, WRAP. So please subscribe to that. And definitely a couple of articles I've got on Tomahawk Nation this week. If you'd like to read a little bit more about this game heading into it, we've got Mark Rick and EJ Manuel. I was on a ACC teleconference media call with them Thursday, and they definitely lent some interesting thoughts on Florida State and the college football season as a whole. I've got a matchup history article that I think all you guys would love. So just go running down Florida State, Georgia Tech. I think the all-time series is 14-10-1 FSU. So 25 matchups, a whole lot of great historic games. I mean, 1992, 1999. You go on down the line. 2008 was a great game. So I've got that on the Tomahawk Nation as well. And we've got a lot of other great content on there. So definitely appreciate y'all having me on.
All right, no problem. Dylan, everybody know where they can find you and your work at.
Yep. You can follow me on Twitter at DylanCC Sports, and then it's yellowjackedup.com. And you can follow us there on Twitter as well at yellowjackedup. So you can find all my content there. We've been able to assemble a pretty nice staff over the last few weeks as we head into the season. So excited about what my team there is going to be able to put together for this season's first year that I've really had more than myself and two other people writing. So having a bigger staff, I'm definitely expecting us to have some big things over there. So yeah, you can follow me again on Twitter at DylanCC Sports. And thanks for having me on. Enjoyed doing this, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
All right, thank y'all for coming on. And everybody who's listening, we didn't have anybody live in the chat right now. I know it's Braves game on, and we got NBA playoffs games on. Then it's Friday. I'm pretty sure everybody out on their dates or whatever. So y'all checking this at a later time. Let us know y'all predictions in the comment section. We check our comments at least every hour. Also, I did a Falcons Friday prediction show, not show, but a clip earlier today, and Rick Fletch he did a clip on the Braves today, so check that out. It's on our YouTube channel, So, but if you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with other college football fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. We'll be back this Sunday live. Until then, y'all take care of yourselves. And as always, come holla at your hometown sports podcast.
Woo! Yeah, go Braves.
Yes, go Braves for the A. On that note, y'all have a great weekend. See y'all Sunday. Don't forget, wear your mask.
Tell them boys play time's up. Tell them put the house on me.